Going for a 4-4-2.
He didn't know what was going on in the room.
Villas managed to refrain from swearing.
He said, if you've got a problem with me, let's sort it out in the gym.
He's actually defending well. Look, the thing is...
Oh, come on! Go on! Where has that come from?
Yeah.
They brought through the door. You know, you look at the...
What a performance, the guys...
Goal that we ruled off. Quite stupid things like that.
Live from South Space at the supporters club. Right.
But he was getting a bit tired, I thought.
Come on! There we go! Come on!
Come on! Yeah! Go! What a different review this will be, Matt. I mean, we've got used to doing absolutely buzzing reviews, but you can't help but feel slightly disheartened and just a bit down. Anyway, welcome back to West Ham Irons United. My name is Anton. I'm joined by Matt for our match review, highlights and words show. Matt, we've just witnessed West Ham get beat 3-1 at home to Liverpool. What's your brief thoughts?
It was sort of brought back down to reality, wasn't it? But we weren't good enough. We didn't turn up. You know, sometimes we come on here. I've been on here. We've been here for years, and sometimes we come on here and we're livid and angry because we didn't deserve it, and something's gone against us, and this and that. You know, even go back to the last Liverpool game when they had that penalty for Salah. This game, they was a walk in the park for them. They fully deserved it. 3-1 flattered us. Yeah. Do
you know what? It really did. Let's get into the game a little bit then, Matt. Obviously, we seen the starting lineup for West Ham, and no changes made from when we done the preview. I expected no changes. You probably expected no changes, but you suggested that the fact that maybe Moyes would have gone back to maybe 5 along the back line. Do you think that was right or mistake? What's your thoughts?
I don't know. You know what? For the way we played, he might as well have done it.
Yeah.
For the way we played, he might as well have gone back to a 5 at the back. No, I'm glad. I was happy he didn't, because it looked like we was going to have the attacking intent. It looked like, you know what, we're putting the attacking players out, we're going to give it a go.
Yeah.
And then he played like he had 5. We might as well have played 5 at the back.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we move on, one thing I did forget there for a second was the fact that this video is, of course, sponsored by our review, highlights and words sponsor, which is OneFootball. Check out the video.
OneFootball have teamed up with West Ham Irons United to give you the best app available. And the best part about it is, for many people, is it's free. F-R-E-E, free. It's a great app. It's got notifications, live scores, breaking news. You can specify it to your own specific club. With us, West Ham, that's going to be our team. It's got everything you could possibly want from a football app. It's updated to the point. You get everything you could possibly want. News, live scores, live updates, you name it, it's got it. Just go to the description in the channel, in our videos, and download it from there, and it'll be downloaded right for free. I'm looking forward to it. I use the app all the time, and I think it's absolutely brilliant. And no, I'm not trying to sell it, but it does work. So, OneFootball, team up with West Ham Irons United. Go out there, download it. Go on, do it. You know you want to. Go on, download it. Download it now.
I don't think it's as forceful as what Stell does when he does his video, mate. But yeah, it's definitely a good one. So yeah, get downloading the app, etc. And as we said, we had a look at the West Ham team lineup. I've actually got how West Ham lined up according to the OneFootball app. As you can see here, we put the usual 4 at the back: Creswell, Bonner, Dawson, Soufal, Rice, Soucek, and then Fornals out on the left, Benrahma through the middle, Bowen on the right, and Antonio up top. Stats were 33% possession to West Ham to Liverpool's 67%. We had 8 shots at goal to Liverpool's 14, 2 on target for West Ham to Liverpool's 5. Liverpool beating West Ham today takes them up into 3rd place on 40 points, and West Ham stay in 5th place on 35 points. And we're talking there about the starting lineup. Were you disappointed in any way? Or I mean, I don't really know. You could be disappointed, to be honest.
No, I was actually quite happy, because it looked like we had the intent to go forward. It looked like Moyes has gone, you know what, these guys play well, playing well. They've earned the right to have a go at it. And so it looked like he'd actually stayed with it. It looked like he picked the team And then it just didn't happen, did it? I don't know what the tactics, what the instructions were, but that's not the team we've seen for the last 6 games, is it?
Yeah, no, you're right.
The
mate.
players were there, but the tactics and the whatever else wasn't there, was it? It just...
No, absolutely. Well, listen, I think we brought to you the news at the start of the game, and the news of that was that Manny was going to be missing for Liverpool. And I mean, listen, mate, when we heard that, there's no ifs or buts about it. We were buzzing, weren't we? I mean, they were already struggling with injuries throughout their whole side, from the defence all the way through to the forward line. Firmino wasn't starting, Manny wasn't starting, he was actually missing from the squad. They were struggling in the defence. They brought in Origi and Shaqiri. Milner took obviously that position in the middle of the park. Henderson was in the back line, and you can't help but feel confident when you looked at that lineup, didn't you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I said, if you looked at it, I was like, yes, the fullbacks were there, but that was their 12th centre-back pairing this season, and they never played together at centre-back. You know, you have Milner, who's playing his third game in 6 days, and he only lasted 55 minutes, so... And you had a front line that I don't think's played together any time recently as an actual front three.
Yeah.
So you look at it and you're thinking everything looked like it was working towards us. We had realistically our best 11 out. They had, I don't know where that would line up in their terms of their best 11s. But it didn't happen, did it? We just didn't turn up.
No, absolutely. I'm going to bring on our well, not our guest, obviously, Mr. Irish United, Mr. One Football Lad. I think we should call him Stel. We've discussed kind of team selections, etc. But in the first half and in the first minute of most games, you can always decide what West Ham is going to turn up. And very quickly in the first half, did you get the impression of what West Ham side were going to turn up today?
Yes, we were going to get the side that was going to just try and sit back and absorb the pressure and try and get away with a 0-0.
Yeah.
I know I came on very briefly at half time and suggested that we were giving Liverpool too much space and let them play their game. And someone said, well, we are playing Liverpool after all. And I said, well, it doesn't matter who we play. We should just play our game, the game that we've been playing. What's disappointing is that we could have taken this to Liverpool, we would still lost 3-1, but at least we could have said we had a go, but we didn't have a go. And we knew what Boys was set up to in the first half. He just going to absorb the pressure. It kind of went back to that, West Ham that he's been putting out against the bigger teams, when he first took over. And I think that's the biggest disappointment of all. It was damage limitation time. And that, I think, we kind of saw the way we were set up. That's exactly what we could do. Proof it up, get it to Antonio, out on his own, no player near him, 20-30 yards, and see what we can do. And we didn't just do that. We've been playing really well lately.
Yeah. Still, do me a favour, lift your microphone up ever so slightly, mate. I think it's just, that's it. That should be it. Okay. That's it. That's crystal clear now. Matt, when it came to the first couple of minutes, you saw that we weren't pressing the ball, but Liverpool are extremely clever, aren't they? I mean, it doesn't really matter if that's their players that are their backups. The young lad Phillips at the back, he was quite dominating back there, and he was really. No, it's working now. Still, it's completely working now. Once you moved it up, it's working. Still with the turtleneck. But you can't help but notice how good Liverpool are at pressing West Ham, and really from the off, mate, they just put us under a crazy amount of pressure and panic, didn't they?
Well, I mean, it's something that Klopp's brought into Liverpool, and it's something that we need to do, and it's the fact that he's gone in and said this is the way my team's going to play, and he's then passed that down through the rest of the players, like the rest of their footballing pyramid, shall we say, the reserves, the under 23s, the under 18s, they all play the same way.
Yeah.
So when a guy, or sorry, I say kid, steps up into the team, he knows what his job is because he's been doing it in the other grades. We don't do that at West Ham. We get managers to come in and do the job, and they sort of do their own thing. And then when it comes to the first team, it's like, well, that's not how the first team plays.
Yeah.
But that's all on Klopp. That's the way they play, the way they are. They brought in backup players, which were still better than what we offered today. I don't think we was at the races. don't think it was anywhere near good enough. We gave them too much respect.
But still, I mean, it wasn't that we didn't have chance. We did have a couple of chances in the first half. The one that really comes to mind is the fact that when the ball got placed into Benrahma, and if he'd have just hit it first time, he would have put Alisson under pressure. The problem with that was that Antonio was standing right in front of him in goal, and Benrahma had to take a touch, which then, in theory, it was just too much time on the ball in the 18-yard box.
Do you think so? I think Benrahma hesitated. I think it kind of came to him where I think he only had to stick his foot on it, and who knows where it would have gone. I think he thought about it a bit too much, and he lost his momentum at that time. But I don't know. I saw it only from one angle, and I just thought that Benrahma tried to control it instead of just being instinctive. But yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, and we were doing the match day live, and Cess was saying, if we can get to half time, I'll take 0-0 at half time. I was kind of sitting there, Matt, or even still, when I was sitting there thinking, I wonder if Moyes is playing the long game here. We knew categorically he wasn't going to make any substitutions, but what do you think was going through Moyes' head and the West Ham team's head going into half time after the kind of onslaught of the first half?
I reckon he was quite happy.
I mean, it was 0-0. It was 0-0 as well.
I reckon he was quite happy. I think we got into 0-0, but they'd had one shot on target. Yeah. Like Salah had a pop shot basically straight at, he cut on his left foot, which was, should have been warning signs from the first goal. But he cut on his left foot just before the end of the first half, and he had a shot straight down the front of Fabianski. So boys were probably going at half time going, you know what, we've sat back, we haven't offered much, but we've created a couple of opportunities, and they haven't created anything.
Yeah. I mean, another chance we had was when Fornals, had that opportunity to smash the ball into the back of the net. I'm trying to think who had the chance before him. I can't remember, but the ball was kind of cleared off the line. Phillips was a little bit further back, and to be fair, guys, Phillips stepped into that role today defensively and performed to the highest level, and I suppose it's showing what Liverpool have got, strength and depth, or even strength in their youth setup, and giving their younger players that opportunity when the going gets tough, these players can step up to the occasion. What was your thoughts on Phillips still?
Fitted in, didn't he? They've done it to us again, where we thought, here's our chance. They don't have a defence to speak of, and they've got youngsters and midfielders filling in their defence, and it looked like he's been playing there. He just fitted in, and he did no wrong, did he? Really, it was a comfortable afternoon for him.
Yeah.
Which kind of guts me even more, the fact that we had the opportunity to go for it and we didn't, because the player, he looked decent, he looked comfortable. It couldn't have been an easier game for a youngster to come in defence.
yeah, exactly. It's just not the West Ham we've saw as of late. We've moved into the second half, and Liverpool have pretty much started as they kind of completed the first half, on the front foot, pressing again, and very quickly we started to see the panic creep back in to West Ham. Then we saw a kind of interesting moment, which was James Milner get substituted from when Klopp pulled him off, and I think there was an exchange of words of why he had done it, but his replacement, Curtis Jones, fed Salah to break the deadlock. Matt, talk to me about the goal, mate.
Oh, I was just saying at the end of the watch along that I would, I think before the game, Irish Tommy was saying about nitpicking and the midfielders don't score enough, and because we're playing well, you've got to nitpick. In this instance, this goal, I would put it solely at the feet of Creswell, because he literally showed Salah in on his left foot. Salah's only got a left foot. He's got a right foot. It's nowhere near as good. And Creswell literally forced him inside on his left foot. It was just a ball in the middle of the park that Curtis Jones played out to Salah on the wing. He played like a little basic 1-2 with someone and cut on his left foot and put it in the top corner, into the box. But Creswell forced him inside. Creswell was like, why are you forcing him inside on his left foot? Force him down the outside on the wing.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, no, I know, mate. It was definitely frustrating. But then, West Ham gained a bit of possession. We're pushing forwards. Liverpool were 1-0 up. At that point, you're panicking, thinking, have we opened up the floodgates? At that point, we hadn't. And I think, what was it, from a West Ham corner?
We had about 4 or 5 corners in a row.
Yeah, on the 68th minute.
One of these count.
Yeah.
And he allowed to be good, to be fair. I'll give Moyes credit. As soon as we went 1-0 down, he took off 4 hours and put Yarmolenko on.
Yeah.
And basically went 2 up front.
But this is the point, mate. Why wait till you go a goal down? Why
Because
wait until
Moyes
you
got
go
the
a
point
goal
out of this
down?
game. You could see it.
Yeah,
for the way we played, Moyes was happy with the point.
Yeah, but he's done it. You know, as much as I don't want to. You know, sort of put a dampener on this, and because we've been great this season, and it's unfortunate that we've, you know, a defeat was going to come sooner or later. But why wait? Why go back to what we've all been moaning about early on in Moyes' reign, when we play a bigger team and then we go all defensive? Why? You know, and because it's happened so many times before, where we played defensive and we've conceded 2, 3, 4 goals against the likes of Liverpool. So playing defensive against a team like Liverpool doesn't seem to work. We should just try and take it to them. Now, I know what people would have said at half time. Yeah, well, that will open the floodgates up and we'll end up losing by 3 or 4 goals. Well, we ended up losing by 3 goals, or 3-1. Anyway,
it's funny
you know,
though, because you do sit there and think, like, you know, what kind of way do you approach the game with Liverpool? Because if you play at them, that's how they want you to play, like you've just said, Stel. And then if you sit back, they've opened the floodgates in theory by winning the game 3-1 today. Yeah. So I think what we had from Tommy at the start was, I would rather see West Ham lose, really going for it, really giving it a go, trying to turn up on the day and just take the game to Liverpool. I think the most disappointing thing for me today was the lack of pressing from the front.
Exactly.
We really lacked that, and I think, you know, when I think of the signing of bringing Lingard in, you know, that's what he does best. And, you know, we're going to talk about the Villa preview coming up soon anyway, but it'll be interesting to see where Moyes' mindset's at. I mean, I'm not trying to say that he's going to throw him straight in there, but I don't think Moyes will. I think Moyes will probably keep up the same, but just change we've done.
If you notice a difference in the first half, despite, you know, sort of suppressing them and not giving them really a sniff at goal, what Liverpool did when they work really hard when they don't have the ball, and whenever we got the ball, they hurried us into making rash passes, and we were hoofing it because of Liverpool's pressing. And what we were doing when they had the ball was we weren't pressing. You know, we didn't close them down the way that they were closing us down. So the minute we got the ball from the goalie or our defence, etc., they had a player on us or closing us down really hard, which meant that all we were doing was just hoofing it away.
Well, the one player I noticed who was hoofing it away all the time, in particular, was actually Soufal. I thought he had, he didn't have a great game today, to be honest. And I think he was the only one I know a lot of the players weren't on, you know, on trend today, but I felt like Liverpool attacked his side a lot more today, because he seemed to get the ball, he seemed to panic a lot, and he seemed to, like you said, still hoof the ball up the top. But listen, we can't take away anything from it. What a counter-attacking goal, wasn't it, Matt, from Liverpool?
Oh, the second goal. Yeah, look.
Yeah.
I said it in the watch-along, but I'm sure it's every frigging season we've been at London Stadium, we concede a goal to Liverpool from our own corner. We do it every single season. Like, I don't know how it happens. Like, we have a corner, like 7 seconds later, Fabregas got the ball back at the back of his own net. And literally was that. It was a ball whipped in, got headed out, and there was sort of, I think, like a coming between two players. I think maybe it was Fornals trying to close him down on the players. He nicked it out wide. It went into the middle, got played out to Shaqiri on the left wing, really far out, really deep. That was his last touch of the game as well. He hit it first time and just put to be fair, almost like an inch perfect 50-yard diagonal.
First time as well.
Yeah, first time, 50-yard diagonal onto the toes of Salah inside the box. Salah took one touch and then just trickled it in the corner.
You can't deny it was a classic counter-attack.
Oh, it was a world-class counter-attack.
Yeah, but the precision passing, they headed it out. One touch from Arnold. Was it Alexander-Arnold or one boot? Alexander. I mean, sublime. Inch perfect passing.
I think it was Alexander-Arnold sent a long ball forward for Shaqiri. Shaqiri dinked the ball into Salah.
And then all Salah had to do was just control it and dink it. You got to. I mean, if it wasn't the fact that they were playing against us, I would have stood up and applauded that because it was brilliant. You can't deny it. It was brilliant play.
There's loads of people in the comments here saying that you can't. I mean, I think where is it? I'm trying to find it. Bonnie Hammer, you're saying here, why do teams press? They believe the opposition will give possession. If you press, good passing team, they'll pass it around you. And listen, we're not remotely denying that, but what we're saying is, we've not pressed Liverpool today, and look what's happened.
Yeah.
I would say that you're talking about when we're given too much respect. There's two things. If you go and press Liverpool, they've got world-class players. They will pass around the press, and then they're in.
Yeah.
So you don't want to press them, because if you go and press them and you don't win the ball, you cut out 4 or 5 players straight away and they're in your back line.
The thing is, though, Matt, by not pressing them, they were still doing that. We
that's what I was going to say. But that's why they are where they are.
Yeah,
they're
absolutely.
not just a one-dimensional team. They're not just built on pressing.
And Bob Uncle's comment in retaliation to Bonnie is Aston Villa did, and look what happened. And they did. They absolutely took the game to Liverpool, especially when they knew Liverpool were struggling. And I'm not saying that West Ham would have gone out there today if we had pressed and smashed in 7 goals. But West Ham were a confident side, and if we had at least pushed forward a bit more, rather than trying to respect the opposition as much as we did, it definitely was more of a respectful.
I think it's what people have said. I would rather have, if we're going to lose the game, giving them a game, rather than lose the game sitting back and accepting that sort of. It was a bit of a tepid performance, and as you just said, Anton, we are actually good. We've been quite sublime going forward, and I'm not suggesting for a minute that we would have won the game if we'd pressed them, but we would have given them more of a game. Yeah, they're good enough to play it round us. I do accept that, but at least it would have given us a bit of hope, thinking we're taking it to them. Let's see what happens.
The way we played, it looked like we A, didn't back ourselves to press them. We thought they'd pass around us, and that we B, didn't back ourselves to pass around their press.
Yeah.
So all it meant was that as soon as we won the ball back, but I said this at the end of review, at the end of the watch along, we weren't playing long balls. You can't call that a long ball. We were playing hoof balls. We were playing big
we were hoofing it. Yeah.
We were doing everything that we slagged Sam Allardyce for doing it today.
If we'd have taken the touch and then played it up towards Antonio and he lost in the battle to hold the ball down, fair enough. But 1 in 5 maybe of them clearances went to Antonio. The other 4 just went straight down the pitch.
I think in the first half we did actually try to play Antonio in like that, but then because of Liverpool's pressing, it ended up being hoofing it. So I think that was Moyes' tactic in the first place, and I think someone just made a comment here. Garino, Moyes is defensive. He played defensively, hoping we'd get a goal from a set piece.
Yeah,
that is how he thinks at the moment. We can beat more superior opposition.
I've got some more interesting information though from the game today. When you look at the total passes that were made, Liverpool had 762 passes today.
We didn't have like 300, did we?
To West Ham's 351, and they had a pass succession rate of just about 89% today, and West Ham had 76.9%. But here's the other interesting part: 81% success pass rate in the opponent's half.
So they were playing the whole game in our half.
Yeah. Yeah. So, it's definitely interesting. But listen, another interesting topical point of today was substitutions. 10 minutes to go. We're 2-0 down, right? And I just really want to, this is for me quite key because, we saw it once before against Tottenham. And I'm not trying to say we're going to get it as a repeat week in and week out if we're 2-0 down. But when we're 2-0 down, you're still in a game. Doesn't matter what you think. You are still in a game.
Absolutely, 100% agreed.
And we've taken off Antonio
2 attacking players
and brought on Mark Noble, and we've taken off Jared Bowen and brought on Ryan Fredericks. Now, this is the point I'm going to make. I've said it during the Matchday Live. I asked the question to Cess and Matt. I said, guys, what was the game recently we played against where I made the comment that the old 1 year ago David Moyes is kicking back in? I think Cess said it was the Brighton game.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
And it was like the old 1 year ago tactics were kicking back in. And today's substitutions and some of the decisions that were made were definitely the year ago David Moyes. The only kind of light in my head positivity is that hopefully Moyes realises come the Aston Villa game, we'll get over that and get rid of this dinosaur comment. But come on, talk to me. What was he doing with those two substitutions still?
I said, didn't I? What I was going to say, I just said I gave him props for the Yarmolenko one. But I don't give him props for the second one. Like,
yeah.
Look, Mandy's point. That was the point when Moyes said, "Let's go home."
Yeah, that is it. That was it.
But we're 2-0 down. We've got opportunities.
2-0 down. We had opportunities. Someone mentioned earlier, why not just give the young lad a go? Why not have put Meepo on? You take Antonio off and go, all right, well, I'll take Antonio off to give him a rest. Let's put the young lad on, give him 10 minutes to see what he can do. Because you're absolutely right. If it was 4 minutes to go with 2-0 down, okay, fair enough. Maybe it doesn't matter what subs you make at that point. But this was on what, 75, 76 minutes?
Yeah, it was like 15 minutes to go.
Yeah, and he put on two defensive-minded players. Well, a defender and a midfielder, and he took off two attacking players. And you just knew at that point what probably was going on in Moyes' mind was, I don't want to concede another goal.
Yep.
I just want to keep it to 2-0.
That was the worst bit.
And then we conceded another goal.
Yeah, and do you know what? Yeah, you're right. We kind of said when we were doing them actually live, we were like, "What's he doing? Like, he's good defense."
Let me pick up on this, Jeremy. Would he have made those subs if there were 50,000 in the crowd? Yes, he would have.
He would have. He would have been booed for it. Yeah,
and he would have been booed for doing it.
But yeah, I don't want people who are watching this to sit here and think we are absolutely tearing it apart.
No,
listen,
we're not.
We're very, results have gone well for West Ham. West Ham are still in 5th position. We're doing okay. We're happy. Like, we're not happy today, but what we're just trying to describe is the feeling of every 4, 5 or every 6 games as it's been. A little 1 year ago, David Moyes' old decision kicks in. He gets a little bit carried away with maybe his success as of late.
No, mate, he doesn't though. That's the thing.
Well, sorry, you know what I mean. Yeah.
He reverts back to type. As soon as we're playing a big team, a so-called big team, he does what he's done today, and it's so frustrating because there was absolutely no need for it. Absolutely no need for it. I'm not suggesting for a minute that if we'd pressed them, we would have won. I'm not saying that. But we went into half time, and we kind of at half time, I was thinking to myself, we're lucky to be still 0-0.
Yeah.
Even though Liverpool didn't really have much of the game, I was thinking to myself, okay. And I was actually expecting Moyes to say to his players, all right, guys, it's 0-0. Let's have a bit more of attack-minded prowess talk. But he almost reverted back to even more defensive-minded. We dropped off even more. And it's such a shame. It's such a shame. But, hey, it's all right. It's all right. It's Liverpool. Champions, European champions, or whatever the hell they are,
But listen, it wasn't, it's funny, we made all those comments, we go 3-0 down, he makes those substitutions, and then what happens? Craig Dawson steps up and gets himself a consolation.
3-7 now. He's going to be our top goal scorer.
He's going to be our top goal scorer, Mr. Craig Dawson. But listen, we've lost the game 3-1. You can't help but feel disappointed. Of course we're disappointed because we've been riding on some success. We've got 6 wins out of 6. Well, I did have 6 wins out of 6 in 2021. We've just been defeated, respectably by the champions of England. But you just can't help but think that some of the decisions were that could have been avoided. Would we have, if Moyes had set up like he set up against Crystal Palace, if he had set up like he set up against Wolves, Leicester, like he's played before, if he had at least pressed their defence a bit more and maybe made more positive substitutions, would the game have been different? There's the question to you, Stel and Matt. Would the game have been different if West Ham had pressed from the off? Or do you think Liverpool were too good today?
It would have been. We would have lost 2-1 instead of 3-1. There you go. No, but on a serious note, you just don't know now, do you? Because he keeps doing the same thing, so you just never know what it might have been. When we do take it to a team, we've got some really good attack-minded players, and we've been playing almost ticky-tacky football in the last 4, 5, 6 games, and today we had none of it. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say, yeah, it would have been different. We may not have won, but it would have been different. It would have been, at least the fans would have walked away thinking, at least we had a go.
Which is what
it's
I said
funny
at the start of the game.
yeah. There's comments in there. People are saying like, shake it off, regroup, come on, Jesse Lingard. The funny thing is, like, a game like today would have been all up Jesse Lingard's path. You know, he would have loved that. He would have loved, you know, pressing the Liverpool defence. You know, there was a couple of times that we did press them and they looked a little bit shaky. But fair play to them. Fair play to them. Wijnaldum and Thiago, and in particular, in my opinion, Wijnaldum absolutely dictated the football today. The whole game from the middle of the park, it was all about him. And I know people will say Thiago played really well as well, but I think I said it through the thing. Wijnaldum just bossed it from the middle of the park. And unfortunately for West Ham today, Liverpool won the midfield battle. Rice and Souček weren't
They weren't at the races.
They weren't at the races today.
And getting early bookings in the second half didn't help either.
Yeah.
No.
You know, and I actually thought for a minute that Souček was going to be sent off with that high kick.
I think very quickly, though, the two of them received a yellow card in quick succession, which put them both under pressure as well, with Declan Rice and Souček. And then that's the problem. I don't know. I need to look at the stats and see how many times they've all had yellow cards, because as soon as they hit number 5, they're suspended for that next game, and that's going to cause.
No, I think it's
change
it's
at
up,
a
isn't it?
How many?
I think it's 7 or 9 now.
Oh, as they moved
Oh,
up.
is it?
It extends as the season goes on, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Or you go back to 0 again after a certain point in the season or something like that. But
I think it goes up to like 7 or 9, but then when you get there, you get a 2-game ban, not a 1-game ban.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, listen. I mean, that kind of rounds up our highlights in words video of the review. Oh, sorry, the review of the Liverpool game. Anything you just want to do? Should we go into the chat a little bit?
Yeah, let's do that. Not a lot of happy hammers tonight.
No, there's really not.
But you know, it is what it is. You got to put it in perspective. It's against Liverpool, but still, it's just disappointing that we just didn't try a bit harder, I guess.
Yeah.
But we'll go.
We're not
back.
angry, we're just disappointed.
Disappointed.
I think that's it. That's really what it comes down to. We're not sitting here going, sack Moyes and oh my God, it's the end of the world. It's just that full-blown disappointment of going, do you know what? We could have shown the world what we are capable of doing.
Football and still lost
look,
3-1.
Yeah.
No shame in losing, but shame for not trying.
Yeah.
You know.
Good comment. Lads, I'm going to leave you to do the comments because I can hear them going mental and they need to help. The missus needs my help, so I'll let you go.
Right.
Thanks for tuning in, and I'll speak soon.
Let's do some comments. So frustrating. Moyes should have put Fornals in centre of mid after the first 10 when he saw their shape. Is that a good point?
It's, well, again, like we said about would it make a difference? It could have made a difference. It would have been a 3v3 in the middle.
Yeah.
It
We
could
would
have
have
matched
matched
up,
them up in a way,
it could have
wouldn't
matched
they?
up and gone for like a 4-3-3, same as they'd done. Push Ben Rama out wide, put Fornals. Yeah, it could have gone for that.
NWO, weak Liverpool team, and we never went at them. We sat deep for the whole first half. Totally agree.
Don't think we got out of our box in the first half, did we?
We didn't get out of our box. Mark, Antonio missed the net and they scored soon after. Second goal by
Literally
Liverpool
straight
should
down the
not
other
have
end.
happened. Yeah. I mean, that it was. You gotta hand it to them. It was a class. It was a goal of the season for me. Their second goal. You know.
Oh, that counter attack.
That counter attack. Yeah. Garino, in my opinion, this match showed why we need a centre forward and a centre midfielder in this window. We cannot rely on Antonio, Rice, and Souček all the time. Well, mate, going to disappoint you because the business we've done, that's it. Unless something really, really late comes in, and I've been scouring, and there's no
Not much going on.
going about.
No.
Absolutely not. Ironclad, we were going to lose a game soon. Better to swallow against Liverpool rather than bottom of 6 team. You know what, mate? I've got to be honest. I'll take that.
Yeah,
rather
it's true.
lose to Liverpool than a
I'm
bottom
not annoyed that we lost. It's just the fact that we didn't have a go, because we could have had a go and still lost 3-1. But at least we'd have played some football.
Neil, down under, I would have swapped Antonio for Meepo. I agree, mate. Meepo, young, fresh legs. Give him 10, 20 minutes. See what he can do. Because sooner or later, we are going to need a replacement when Antonio goes off injured. So
That's
why
right.
not?
They're bringing Josh King tomorrow, mate. It'll be fine.
We're not buying Josh King, mate. Bonnie, we did that one. Might be controversial, Garino, but I would have dropped Bowen. Doesn't look up or pick the obvious part. Bowen's slowly been getting a bit more criticism lately, mate. What do you think of that?
We have to run at someone, don't we? We always do. Haller's gone now, so.
But do you agree with that?
Fornals is now the golden boy because Fornals was getting the stick.
He was getting, yeah. But do you agree with the criticism that Bowen's getting? I mean, he's got 5 goals for us this season already. But
look, you can moan at anyone in that game. I don't think anyone had a good game.
No one did. Yeah, I agree. We weren't at the races at all. Happy Hammer. Second half, they came out to play and we just weren't ready. They had a game plan and it worked. Unfortunately, we didn't have a plan B. And this is what Moyes was criticised with before, that we don't always necessarily have a plan B. But the irony is our plan B did come into effect in the last 5 or 6 games in the way we played, but we just stopped the plan B. Well, plan B became a plan A, but we stopped doing it.
We've got 2 formations, haven't we? We've got the 5 at the back, the 4 across midfield and the 1 up front. Or the 4 at the back, the 5 in midfield and the 1 up front.
Yeah.
And we couldn't change it to 5 at the back after we went 1-0 down because he'd got slated even more.
Neil, at 2-0 down, how many managers would have left Meepo on the bench and brought Noble or Fredericks on? It's exactly what we were talking about, mate. I would have liked to have seen what Meepo could have done, to be honest with you. It might put the shakes up them, a young 18-year-old running.
I just could not believe we were watching it, and I was sitting looking at the screen, and I was like, "Oh, I think West Ham are making a sub." And when it panned round, and it was Mark Noble and Ryan Fredericks,
I laughed.
I was just like,
I actually laughed
because I think I was slightly ahead of Cess and Anton. I was like, "I was bringing on Noble and Fredericks," and they were like, "What?" I was like, yeah. that comment said earlier. That was Moyes saying we've done enough. We're going home.
Yeah.
That comment I remember you brought up earlier. Was it Mandy said it that was Moyes saying, "Yeah, we're going home now. Let's take the 2-0."
Yeah.
We didn't get 2-0, did we? Then we put on essentially a defensive, not home for them, a defensive midfielder,
and they scored another goal.
A right back to play right winger, and they scored again. But it's all right because we don't need to put Fredericks there because we've got 9 wingers, haven't we?
It would have made more sense if he'd have put Fredericks out on the left as a left wing back and put maybe done that. He could have done a 3 at the back with Sofal.
Well, I did say about
Fredericks
Johnson before in the preview yesterday.
Yeah,
I did say I thought Moyes might have reverted to type and brought him in and dropped one of Fornals and Benrahma. Maybe you should have. Maybe it would have worked better. Could have been any worse.
Ross, can't really blame Moyes. Liverpool are a top tier team. To be fair, we've gone 6 games unbeaten, and to lose to Liverpool isn't bad. Do we accept that?
I think our last 3 losses are Liverpool, Chelsea, and Man United.
And Man United, yeah.
So it's not exactly shambles, is it?
Not really. Andy Pepper, sometimes teams are just better than you, and they definitely are. That's the next step up we need to aim for. Well, Moyes has said he needs at least another 4 windows to get us there. So, it's work in progress. It's disappointing, I think, because we have got carried away, winning quite a lot of goals, winning quite a lot of games. But there you go.
I said before the game today, we was doing like the build up before the game went on. And I said to Ant, I said for a win, I said, but it wouldn't surprise me if we lose. I said, but as long as we have a go. I said, if we turn up and have a go and Liverpool were the better team because they are the champions.
Then fair enough.
But we're just sitting here kind of frustrated because we didn't turn up. We gave them too much respect.
Gave them far too much respect. Adam, need to forget game, still go for 6, get second strikers and midfielder, and need to blood youngsters more before the end of the season. Well, I've got to be honest with you, mate. I do not think we're going to be doing any more business in the transfer window unless something really spectacular comes up. And I can't
As I said, I can't see a midfielder coming in. I joked about Josh King purely because I don't think Bournemouth are going to want to let him go for nothing.
They're not. I know Anton's theory is that he thinks that we're going to get him in on a £4 million loan deal. I can't even see that happening, to be honest.
It won't be a loan because there's no point because he's out of contract at the end of the season.
Yeah.
But I could see him. I could see him crumbling tomorrow and selling him for like 7-8 million.
If 7 or 8 million, I'd pay, but I wouldn't pay any more than that. To be honest,
didn't we offer that at the start? And they said they wanted like 15 million because all these teams were interested. And Villa bought in Santon, which is a fantastic signing, by the way, 15 million from Marseille. And Dean Smith said, that's all we're doing. We're not getting anyone else in. Big Sam got his centre forward in on loan that he wanted, and he got him from Turkey.
Which guy did he get? Not Abubakar.
No, Diang.
Oh, Diang. Okay.
Something like that, I think is pronunciation. And it was us, and there's Newcastle. But Mike Ashley ain't going to give Bruce any money to spend.
No.
It's past 110 million, and look where they're sitting.
Yeah.
So it's literally they're Bournemouth for tomorrow. We've got to accept whatever West Ham offer, or just let him do a Ryan Fraser. And
Well,
go for free in the summer.
there's talk about Newcastle looking at bringing King in so he can pair up with Wilson again, but we'll see. English Yardie today. Moyes threw the whole team under the bus today, especially Fornals, because he's made the way for Lingard to start again. Oh, so you reckon, English Yardie, that Lingard is going to take Fornals' place? What do you think of that?
I still don't think he'll start. I could see him being on the bench. I could see that being a more viable sub.
I've got a theory as to where he'll play. I think with Bowen getting subbed quite regularly, I think Lingard will come in on the right and he'll stick Yarmolenko up front to replace Antonio in games. But let's see. No team is as dangerous to us as our own negative gameplay. Today's game was ours to take, and we were just shook.
Yeah, I mean, it is. We didn't. I've said a couple of times now. We just didn't turn up. And 3-1 flattered us.
Loads more comments, but we're going to leave them. Leave it for now because I've got to go and set up my own show.
Yeah, I was about to say you're on the clock, yeah.
I'm on
what
the clock.
What time's your show on?
I don't know yet, but probably in about an hour's time. So join me for.
You've got to write a script now. He's only got an hour to write it.
I've done it all. I've just got to check on the latest stories to add in.
He's got to text his sources. He's in transfer news.
Join me in about an hour or so's time for the West Ham Weekly, and we'll briefly go over the game and the last two games, all the latest transfer news, all the latest gossip, etc. It is already 7:30. I'm just checking when dinner's going to be, and then I'll come on later. So I'll put out a notification. Any last words, Matt, before we go?
Let's just sort of try and sweep under the bus and go again against Villa. This was a blip.
Exactly. Let's hope we don't play like this against Villa. Otherwise, Anyway, I've got to go. Cheers, Matt. Thanks for doing the watch along and all that. I took the easy way out today and just watched the game. So see you all for the West Ham Weekly later, and we'll chat soon.